So for those of you that are newer to my channel, I kind of wanted to do a quick little intro and give you a better idea of who I am as well as my background, so you get an idea of who's really behind the millennial wealth, right? So growing up, my family wasn't the most financially wealthy. I was actually born in a third world country called Burma, or also known as Myanmar. We still got a lot of issues going on over there till today. But I was actually raised by my grandparents. My mom had moved to the US, a little after I was born, just to kind of get us a better life. And I actually didn't meet up with my mom again till the age of like around 6-7 years old, when we moved here to the US. We grew up in Jackson Heights, Queens, in a tiny apartment, and for those of you that are familiar with the area, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, it wasn't the best neighborhoods growing up, right? And my mom was a hard-working single mother, raising 4 kids on her own. So it was really me and my brothers at home or out in the streets majority of the time when she was trying to make some money, right? For us, I would say it started turning around eventually when my mom met my stepfather, who's now my father at this time being, till today. And that's when our lifestyle had kind of shifted to where we eventually moved out to Suffolk, the city Suffolk over in Long Island. That's, for those of you that are familiar with Long Island, that's a rich neighborhood, right? And we grew up kind of in like the lower middle income class where we kind of just got by, right? Because it was me, my mom, my dad, and as well now a total of 7 boys in the home, because we ended up picking up 3 stepbrothers as well. So it was really a large family, and we kind of grew up in a rich neighborhood where it was lower middle income. So I really got to see majority of my friends and other families get the things they wanted, whenever they wanted, really. And for us, we kind of just got by to be able to pay the bills and eat, and then just kind of be able to go to a nice school district, right? Since that time frame, I've always wanted to kind of make a lot of money. And as well just have financial freedom and give my family the life I never had. I just never really knew exactly what I was going to do to get to that point, but everything that I kind of did along the way led me to where we're at now. So I had many odd jobs growing up, working at Subway, to driving a dump truck, to being a helper for contractors on all sorts of odd jobs, right? And roofing, did fencing as well. Eventually joined the Marine Corps. I was in the reserves, and then got into door-to-door marketing, and then worked at restaurants. Pretty much was busboy to waiter to bartender to line cook, and then eventually I ended up at a IT job. And that's where I did majority of my W-2 time as a young adult. Did that about for 5 to 6 years. And around that time frame was when my boss James at the time actually introduced me to this purple book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, that everyone knows about. And something with that book kind of just clicked in me, and I just started going down this rabbit hole of becoming an entrepreneur, and as well getting into investing, right? And since that time, that seed was planted around that time frame, and I didn't know exactly how I was going to start buying real estate, but or like really what kind of business I was going to get into. But I just kept chipping along the way, and eventually I landed I became a real estate agent as a part-timer back in 2018. My brother got into it first, and he kind of told me to get into it, and this was back up in New York, and 2018 was the time frame I got in, and I ended up loving it. And eventually what led to that was I went from I did drop shipping as well while I was doing that, did Uber and Lyft as well while I was doing that, and eventually led to like a digital marketing ad agency for real estate agents. And that kind of led the way to where eventually in 2019, me and my wife got tired of New York and decided to just leave New York, and we moved down here to Virginia in 2019. This was around like the March-April time frame of 2019, and it was the best decision I could have possibly ever made. Because when we moved down here, it was really a sink or swim situation, as I quit my W-2 job after we bought our first home. And then I just drove Uber and Lyft to kind of get by, and luckily my wife had a W-2 job at the time, and that's something that was the best thing we could have done. I don't recommend it for anyone out there really, because it was quite risky now that I look back at it. But I've always had this scrappiness in me. Maybe that's because, I grew up with 6 older brothers and immigrant as well. But I knew that we were gonna make it. And just something in me also clicked when we were down here, because I remember as a part-time agent, I did well, but nothing as well as I did when I moved down here, because I went all in, right? I pretty much got up early in the morning, got up at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and then worked pretty much all day and then till the evening time frame. Did Uber and Lyft at night, so I would be out till like 9, 10 o'clock at night doing Uber and Lyft, and then doing real estate stuff in between. And I also ran ads, marketing ads in between as well for people. And that I think, looking back at it, my biggest year in real estate sales was close to 700,000. And together, I've made close to about $2 million in like a six-year time frame, which is phenomenal. It's been a life-changing business for me, and it's definitely not easy by far. But it's one of those things that if you really stay true to it and put in the work, you're gonna get the returns. And from that led to us being able to kind of save a good amount of money after we bought our first house. Because after our first house, we were broke for a little while because we just did the typical purchase and closing costs. But from that, we saved up a good amount and bought our first rental property back in 2021. This was around February 2021, so about 2 years later, right? So that one was purchased, nothing special. We did 20% down. It was a duplex, and we bought it for $175,000. And that rental today cash flows us about $10,500 a year. This is after all expenses and reserves. So it's one of those things that's been really phenomenal for us on an investment standpoint, and the appreciation has went up a ton as well. Fast forward to today, we're at 23 units and making close to about $100,000 a year in just rentals alone. It has been a complete game changer, because at 32 years old, I've got $5+ million worth of real estate in our portfolio. So my family is like set for life should I decide to not pick up any more rentals, right? And really, I started Millennial Wealth because I really regret not recording my journey from the earlier days to now. But as they say, better late than never, so here we are. I'm hoping to, hopefully encourage others that building wealth is still possible today. And as well, not just focus on the income, but just to help kind of build the wealth, because a lot of people out there, they make a lot of money, but they just spend it all and they don't really set anything aside or build any wealth. And ever since I had my daughter Amelia, it made me really realize, like, man, like the stuff that I did back in the days to really just back in the days, just like, the years prior to her, to really build up this dynasty, I guess you could say, that's gonna be setting out generations for life, right? And I wanna teach others to be able to see that the income's great and all, but you really need to build some wealth, so this way your family's set for life. I'm hoping that other dads, other families out there can realize that and start slowly chipping away at it and enjoy the fruits of their labor eventually. And if I make some money from this channel, great. Additional passive income can't hurt either. But I'm just hoping to have some fun with this and help others out there. And I am, as you can see, I'm heavily invested in real estate. So my plan is to be less leveraged. Right now, I'm about like 70%, 70 to 75% leveraged. And I want to get into other investment vehicles such as stocks, crypto, right? And right now, my main goal is to focus on paying off some short-term debt that I've got so I can cash flow even better on these rental properties, because I've got some interest-only debt that I took on to be able to acquire some seller financing deals that are really low interest as well. But after that, I'm going to start focusing on stocks and as well as some crypto, and I'm going to share with you guys, the stuff that I'm investing in, some results. And I've had some bad experiences with crypto in the past as well, so that's one of the reasons why I haven't invested. But since now I wanted to jump back in, and this is kind of like an accountability to be able to come on here and share with you guys what I'm doing on my end. And I'm just kind of putting the energy out there, because the reality is, you put it out there, it's going to all come to come true for, for me and for others out there. And some of my goals for you guys, is eventually once I turn 35, which is going to be about 2 years from now, because I'm about to turn 33 in this December 2025. But in about 2 years from now, I want to kind of go on a hiatus for about 6 months with the family and just kind of travel around the world. And that's when I'm going to really be able to stress test my investments, because I won't be doing anything, and I want to see if it can fully fund our lifestyle. Right now, it can somewhat do that, but I still have to do these flips and do these real estate transactions to kind of get the lump sum of cash. Because as with real estate investing passively, right, the long-term rental side, there are stuff that pops up that requires capital, right? So I do have to still operate to do that. But once I get less leverage and I think I'll be able to cash flow better, and then I want to really stress test my portfolio come 35. And eventually too, my goal is to kind of just pay off some of my portfolio. I haven't really determined which ones yet, but throughout this channel, I'm going to keep you guys updated once I get a better idea of that. But yeah, that's why I created Millennial Wealth. I appreciate you tuning in, and if you enjoy this type of content, where we're going to be covering personal finance, investing, and as well lifestyle, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and hit the like button, because it'll help the algorithm out and help spread my channel, my words as well, so that'd be greatly appreciated.